And good evening, ladies and gents, wherever you may be around the world. And welcome to Splendid Isolation number 75. Going to start us off with our channel theme. And that, of course, was our very own Napoleon, the very young Highlander, who has also, that was Gulliver Gall, by the way. He's also promised me a black bear, but he's not done it yet. Okay, welcome to my guest this evening, Tristan Morrow and Ryan Limbu. How are you going, dudes?
Fairly all right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Cool. I'm going to play us a tune because I want to allow enough time for people to get in here. And I'm going to be selfish tonight. Both of the tunes I'm playing, apart from our intro, are related to me. And this one is my family regiment tune.
When a bugle for battle so merrily sounds, in the ranks of the diehards each heart then rebounds. As fearless of danger, right onward we go. When up go our colours and down go the foe. Be they Russians or Prussians or Spanish or French, at scaling a rampart or guarding a trench. Not a bayonet, no bullet, our progress retards, for it's just all the same to the gallant diehards. Our regiments conquered, but never in vain. They'll witness those hills and the mountains in Spain. They'll witness the shades of those hundreds who fell at Red Albuera, and a victory can tell how Sultan and his Frenchmen were beaten and sank, as we fell on them fiercely, rank after rank. Invincible seemed those brave children of Mars, Lord Beresford styled us the gallant diehards. What harm if we suffer from hardships at times? What harm if we're bronzed by those hot eastern climes? Such trifles as these our spirits can't damp, but we're jovial in barracks and more so in camp. Watch the girls how they smile when we march through the town, when they hear we're the diehards of our famed renown. So fill up your glasses and show your regard by drinking the health of each jolly diehard.
There was 4 kitten sergeants come.
Okay, that was Jolly Diehards. Okay, chaps, how are we going? As always, I'm going to ask people for a first subject to talk about. I'm going to start with you, Tristan. Do you have a first subject you'd like to bring up this evening?
I didn't really think about that one, so I'll let the other chap do it first.
All right. All right. You think about it while Limbu does his, and then I'll come back to you. Limbu, you got a first subject you'd like to bring up, mate?
Well, funnily enough, I wanted to bring up on, well, something which is very close to Tristan, on the Northern Irish Protocol. Now, there's been talks by the cabinet that they want to provide a bill to override the Northern Irish Protocol. You've got lots of, I think Keir Starmer said that he wanted to definitely vote against that 100%. However, as this is a government bill, of course, there's going to be problems within it. And I think it was Liz Truss, the queen of Brexit, some could say.
She's an anti-Brexit feminist, so far as I understand. But yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. But the media coined the term queen of Brexit because
which is the opposite of what she is. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure, yeah. But she's trying to revolt over this Northern Irish Protocol bill because they want more neutralization of the actual overriding bill. Now, I think politically, looking at this through analysis, Boris Johnson is in a really tight pickle now because he's put out a government legislation which wants to override the Northern Irish Protocol. The whole of the opposition side of the part of Westminster fully disagrees with it. Labour disagrees with it. The SNP are probably going to make a statement on it later today. And then you've got pro ERG, so that's sort of the hard Eurosceptics, quote unquote. I say hard with a pinch of salt. You've got them sort of Tories against it because it's not enough, apparently. And, I think this might be Boris Johnson's final make or break. If this succeeds without rebellion, I think this would be a good sign for the Boris Johnson cabinet for the next following months. However, if there is a strong, hard rebellion, because there could possibly be one, due to the fact that we've seen the recent vote of no confidence, we would possibly see MPs, even if they agree with the protocol, wanting to vote against the government legislation to show their dissatisfaction with the current government and Boris Johnson. It'll be on a personal spite. So I think this will be really something to watch out for. Watch it in Parliament TV. Look at the Hansards. I think this will be really interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what the cabinet ministers will think now, because it's not vote of no confidence. Thus, I think they've got liberty to say whatever they want. Liz Truss has already said something. One of the main contenders for the leadership of the Conservative Party. So, could we possibly see a sort of rebellion from like George Shapps or Jacob Rees-Mogg? It's interesting. It's an interesting time to be alive within Westminster politics.
Yeah, okay. Anything to add on that, Tristan?
Well, as he had actually mentioned, the vote of no confidence on Boris Johnson the other day, or what was it, a few days ago now, but I spent that whole entire, hold on one moment.
Oh,
His sound is pretty shit. He's trying to fix it, I think.
Oh, fair enough. If I should drag this conversation, I think the vote of no confidence, especially uh, within the Conservative Party, I think this was not a battle of factions, how the media tried to coin it as. Rather,
Cool.
this was a battle of individuals, and the next election, should one save their seat or one should simply throw it all away. That was the topic given, and it seemed like Johnson loyalty within the Conservative camp is much more much more of a sort of bigger stake than their individual seats. And it's interesting to think that Boris Johnson has such like sort of sentiment within MPs to vote for him, because it was, of course, anonymous vote by the MPs. There's no clerks looking over the voting ballots. No phones were allowed to be taken, so taken pictures with. So it's absolutely crazy because there is a strong influence for Boris Johnson here. He swayed MPs to vote for his leadership as
You,
the Conservative Party.
I don't disagree with you, Limbo, but what's happening, Tristan? Can you stream?
Sorry about that.
That's all right, man.
It's a busy household today, so I had to explain to everyone.
No worries, no worries.
Oh no, I was just dragging on. So continue, Tristan, with your
Sorry.
take.
I know. No more interruptions, right? So what I was going to say was about the whole Boris Johnson vote of no confidence, which I have to say I was very disappointed by a lot of the Conservative, because I was on a Twitter space the other day with it was on the, I forget the name, but George was there, and a lot of these Conservative Englishmen, they were sort of speaking like, "Oh, we want Boris Johnson out now," and what I don't think a lot of people understand is that Boris Johnson is Northern Ireland's like last ticket to staying out of the Republic or out of a border poll situation, because without Boris Johnson, we literally will have no one to back up our current following government, which is basically the last card of Northern Ireland unionism at the moment. So I just want to say I was very disheartened by the lack of actual care towards, I'm ranting, sorry, but
So Tristan, so you would think all the other Conservative contenders wouldn't satisfy Unionist needs in Northern Ireland?
no,
No,
absolutely
so
not. If a Tory is like proposing to overthrow Boris Johnson, it was a pure power grab. Basically, it was for pure profiteerism. Of course, there'd be maybe a few people way back, but they'd be very like they would have no actual impact on the government who actually did care about trying to fix the Tory party. But honestly, it was just a power grab.
I would say what George is saying right now. There are lots of Conservative cabinet members who are strong Unionists, even much stronger than Boris Johnson. So, take for example Jacob Rees-Mogg. He exactly holds the same views within a Brexit sort of anti-European republicanism within Northern Ireland. So, I, in a way, I can't I can't see the Tories backing out with unionism in Northern Ireland. I can't see that, even if they remove Boris Johnson. Surely.
But yeah, I'm not saying that they'd back out of unionism within Northern Ireland. I would just say that they would not have the same sort of mentality as Boris Johnson does. Like they wouldn't be able to. I have a high suspicion that they would not fully commit as Boris Johnson has, especially Jacob Rees-Mogg, which one of my friends had brought up to me, and I honestly could not see him fully committing to helping the Northern Irish in their whole current situation. I have my doubts, anyways.
I think
Mighty Balzac in the chat says, are stable belts gay? Is it possible the British Army is a source of all this Pride Month bullshit? Now, I'll tell you, my Balzac, I still have a British Queen's Regiment stable belt. Do you know what? I had to pay for it. British Army doesn't give you them at all. You have to buy them. They're, by the way, for anyone who's a civilian who doesn't know, they're a smart belt with your regimental badge on the front. Get fucked all over you, all right? And especially Mighty Balzac. I'm not in a good mood tonight, mate, boys. So let's not have too much shit. Carry on, gentlemen. Sorry. Hang on, guys. All I can hear is ambient noise. Someone speak, please.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm kind of just sort of burnt out on the protocol issue, to be honest. Because I went to all these rallies, and I've had to listen to this for like the past few months, and having all these Brexit Party people coming over and all these like big names coming over here, especially to my small town. And it just seems like an endless loop, honestly, to try and get rid of this protocol. I'm very just burnt out on the issue, to be honest.
If the British government really wanted to get rid of this protocol, they would just say to the EU, we're getting rid of it. And what's the EU going to do? It's not like the EU can fight Britain, is it?
Yeah, well, there's the thing. The whole hard border thing with the whole border checks and everything, that was originally an EU proposal. It was the EU proposing that. It wasn't the British government saying, oh, we'd put them up. No, it'd be the EU putting them up. I mean, the British government doesn't want a hard border. We don't want a hard border. It's the EU that says either we're stuck in the EU and we're going to encompass you, or we are going to put military patrols on your border. So, I'm just so burnt out on that issue, because it is honestly the whole entire European continent bullying a wee nation, and then people call it democracy.
But the EU cannot bully Britain. The EU, even if all of it was against Britain, couldn't possibly do anything against Britain.
Yeah.
No, not every single EU country combined would still fucking lose.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course.
It's just insane to me that the only reason the British government doesn't turn around and say we're just going to get rid of this shit is because Alexander Johnson and his vile, very average-looking, pretty chubby girlfriend don't want to.
Well, so I'm sorry, I was out for like 5 seconds. What was the conversation about?
I just said the only reason that the British government doesn't get rid of the Northern Ireland Protocol is because Alexander Johnson and his really average, fairly chubby girlfriend don't want to.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's much more to that than basic removal. That would mean a total rehaul of the bureaucracy within the actual trade.
But that is the whole. Wasn't
Ireland.
that? But
that would destroy more
wasn't that-
communities, and that would destroy more shops within Northern Ireland. I mean, you got so sometimes we give Boris Johnson too much credit. Like, I don't like Boris. That's
limbo.
bad, but...
All right, look, limbo. Wasn't that the whole idea of Brexit? Was that Britain left the EU?
Yes, but we didn't actually. The people. Well, yes, that is true, but we didn't actually agree upon what would be the basis, and the Conservative government decided that a deal would have been done, and then
The deal was shit. The deal was shit.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The deal the Conservative government in air quotes did was shit. Northern Ireland is part of Britain. He isn't part of the EU. Would you argue with that? Man, you're the son of a Gurkha soldier, for God's sake, right? And the Gurkhas are the most loyal of the loyal guys, yeah? Northern Ireland is part of Great Britain. It isn't part of Ireland, the southern part of Ireland, and it isn't part of the EU. So anything the EU says about that bloody shit is crap.
Well, I would say the most damning thing of everything right now is the fact that it's not even Britain that is threatening, because the big talk is the Good Friday Agreement's at threat, which, by the way, the Good Friday Agreement power sharing, as you can see by the modern government, doesn't even work because it's basically. Oh. Did he drop out or?
No, I think Libu's left, but he'll come back. Carry on.
Well, the current, basically Good Friday Agreement, as we can see by the modern government, shared between the DUP and Sinn Féin. Both the First and Second Minister are both exactly the same thing. One can't do something about the other, which is why Sinn Féin latest comment on a border poll said, oh, we're going to have to wait 5 years before we can even implement a border poll, because they're waiting to see if they can win the Southern election and do it through that way. But the whole border was, the sea border, was to prevent the meddling of the Good Friday Agreement, which is very ironic because the only ones actually sending out threats and all that was the past Taoiseach of Ireland, Varadkar, who brought in a bombed scene of a border post into the Parliament. And then it was it's one of the heads of the EU Council. He said that they will have to ensure that their goods are protected by putting border patrol up. So, it's so crazy to me that everyone's pointing at Boris Johnson and saying, oh no, he's the one threatening Good Friday, whenever these guys are like actually threatening to put military on the border, threatening to start a bombing campaign again. It is a very strange world we live in, is what I will say about it.
No, I would agree with that, Tristan. I would agree with that.
For sure. Totally agree. I think Steve in the chat has a good point here. Johnson is giving Ukraine Britain's rocket artillery. He will survive in office just long enough to give away Britain's last weapon. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, so far, Alexander Johnson has given away to Ukraine well over £5 billion of British money. And the 2 British aircraft carriers that we have these days cost slightly under £3.5 billion, although really they should have cost about £2.6 billion had the British Labour Party built them at the correct speed. So basically, Boris Johnson is giving away everything that could make the Royal Navy a really powerful navy in the world to Ukraine, and it's a complete waste of British taxpayers' money because everyone who's not a dumb twat can see that Russia is winning quite easily there. But that's just my opinion,
I mean, I think everyone has the same opinions on the rise that this is mostly going to waste money. But I think politically, this is a Boris Johnson power move. It really is. It's just for himself. It's advancing his own career and his own government.
What to make Britain's nose as far up America's arse as he can possibly make it? Is that what his move is? Because it seems to be that to me.
Yeah, no, that could be one reason. Definitely trying to appease the Americans and the American-created sentiment of peace and democracy.
And we are, of course, in the ultimate American month of Pride Month, where you're supposed to be proud of gay ass sex for some strange reason.
What I've noticed about Pride Month, though, is that there seems to be a lot more resentment to it. And
I detest it.
Yes, yes, of course I think we all detest it here. However, I've even within certain quote unquote, so like even with certain neoconservative liberal areas uh, of TikTok or whatever social media they have, they sort of they dislike it because it's a corporate greedy wish to it. It's on their bucket list of things to do. So I think lots of people started to recognize that. However, I think that whole perception takes away the idea of what is inherently wrong. That pride for such LGBTQ is inherently wrong. I think that just like subverts the whole argument, just pushes away the main argument to it's corporations. Rather, it's corporations plus evil sin. So
Well, yeah, but look, my view is, yeah, LGBTQ is absolutely wrong for being celebrated. I wouldn't put these guys in jail, but I don't think we should encourage them. But what we recently had in America, for example, was very small children, like 4 or 5 year old children, 6, 7 year old children, being taken to a gay strip club where there was a great big neon sign saying it won't lick itself. And they're supposed to put money in the underwear of these vile blokes who are pretending to be women. I'm sorry, that's child abuse as far as I'm concerned. It's just child abuse. I don't think any of our fathers, speaking to the three of us here, would ever have allowed that to happen to any of us.
yeah, no, 100%. Tristan, you got any views on it?
Oh yeah, no, it's child abuse. I'm shocked that there hasn't been any investigations into that, or the videos haven't been sent to the police, or maybe they have. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into that. But yeah, no, as you said, Pride Month, it is literally just a corporate month. It is purely for making money. People that don't see that, it's just like most other months, like let's say Black Friday, that's there to make money. You have Valentine's Day, which used to have a meaning, but now it's just purely there to make money. Um, you know, it is purely just a month for people to indulge in themselves.
I do agree. I do agree with you, Tristan. But like, and what you're saying about things like Valentine's Day and all that, totally true. But there's a big difference between blokes buying women cards and flowers on Valentine's
Yeah,
Day,
definitely.
and like child abuse, which is what the whole, like, I don't know, things like transvestite story hour and little tiny kids being in a gay strip club.
Yeah,
Those things are the same.
Obviously, Valentine's Day is not a perfect comparison to the current shenanigans that are going on in the nicest way I can put it, during Pride months that take place every year. I mean, all you really have to do is really just look at any video of a Pride Month march, and you can quickly see some very dangerous looking figures in those crowds, and they get away with it. Purely because of the current trends. And it really does show the power that trends have on social media. That if a bunch of people just say, "Oh yeah, it's all right," then the media will start backing it, and then eventually it just becomes normalized purely because of an internet boosted thing. Uh, I mean, I bet you if you looked at probably early 2000s, it most likely was not as big of a thing as it did suddenly become in like 2012. You know, that's when I started noticing that suddenly just booming. 2012 and
Actually,
2016.
no. There's a good. I think I did a good research report on it. So, ever since the transition of, was it Kim Kardashian's dad? Was it who's that famous American runner who became a transvestite.
I couldn't tell you.
Bruce Jenner, yes, Bruce Jenner,
Right.
how he became a woman, and how the media took storm with
He
that.
didn't
within
become a
American
woman.
culture.
No,
Well,
I'm
of course
sorry.
he didn't. No, he
Limbo.
didn't become a woman. Well,
He became a mentally ill man pretending to be a woman.
of course, no, I get that. But if you only put it simplistically, the media saw him as a woman, and thus that created a storm of frenzy of, oh, I can do that. If he can do it, he's so brave. And I don't often quote Ben Shapiro, but Ben Shapiro was right that the emotion of the media was heavily influenced with this decision, and thus it created what it was, like Tristan stated. So yeah,
Yeah. I never quote Ben Shapiro, but I would point out that in that instance, as always, he was not looking higher up the chain, because he never does. But there we go. That's just me. That's all I'm saying.
Careful, lads. Pay attention to what Harold said. Be careful, lads.
Jobu says
sad.
he just posted another music video in the general chat on the Discord. I reckon I'm going to ban him after that, but it depends on the music. We'll see what it is.
I think you have a question, Tristan, actually from Nathan. Do you want to show that, or
where Nathan? Hang on. Let me find
Nathan Striker.
Oh, here we go. That one.
Yeah.
There you go. Nathan Striker. He's asking you, Tristan, what led to the creation of the Irish Unionist Party?
Yeah, actually, I've seen that guy. He's sent quite a few emails and messages. They're decent chaps, but yeah, Irish Unionist Party. I told the story on the radio whenever the Kilkenny people invited me on, but basically, what happened is, if you don't know, I have a YouTube channel where I upload historical music, mostly due to Southern loyalist music from back in the day. And through comments, got in contact with some chaps from Munster who felt the same way about unionism. We got into some calls, and then eventually some guy came around to us and he said, you know what, you guys should make a party. And on the very same night they said that, we made the party Twitter. And from there, it's quite literally boomed quite a bit. But yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Well, that's cool. I mean, overnight success.
But is there anything else that you just want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, loads, but that was the last direct question to you, mate.
Yeah. Sands and hunger. She should have just eaten. Cool, you guys are top. Of course, we're top charmers, George. Of course, we're absolutely. All of us are dashing. So
yeah, but you see, the thing is, George is like being a bit cowardly at the moment. Like he's chucking dog shit from the side, but he won't actually join the stream. And chucking dog shit from the side really easy.
Man's just on his phone.
I think George is being one of them hecklers, and like a stand-up comedy night, just stuff.
Exactly.
Where you take the dog shit, you.
Yeah, what you take the dog shit? Yeah, all right, man. George, be a man and come and speak your piece. Don't be a girl and stand there on the sidelines making snidey comments.
He's being a woman, absolutely.
Yeah, he is, and I like George. Don't get me wrong, but he's got a link. He can join the stream anytime he wants. So that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Duke, you yourself said a man can't be a woman. Well, that's true. No, actually, that's not true, because if a man behaves like a woman, he can be a man pretending to be a woman. And, there are quite a lot of those around these days, George, I have to say.
There's a word for it, but that's a bad rude word to say now.
Jobu, George is fishing for Duke. Duke shouts and doesn't even have to bait the
Oh,
hook.
no. I love my Discord because I have more enemies than friends on there, so it's really cool,
Really cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't have a great majority of people saying, "Oh yeah, I enjoy. He's really good." What I mostly have is bastards like Jobu and George, who will hardly ever come on streams, slagging me off. So but they will hardly ever appear. But whatever.
George hasn't been on stream for like a solid 2 months, or like I saw.
No, George was on a stream about 3 weeks ago, I think. But yeah, so to give him fairness. All right, I'm going to do what I usually do and talk about BBC News.
Oh, classic, mate.
So let's talk about the Bias Brainwashing Corporation news. All right, we should.
The what?
Bias Brainwashing Corporation. That's the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Oh, okay. That's it.
It's entirely left-wing. It's entirely anti-British.
Yeah.
It detests white people, and it especially detests straight white men. So anyway, what we have on this stream is...
the first thing I saw on BBC News was something about Cristiano Ronaldo and Justin Bieber. That is great news, isn't it?
I didn't see that. I'm on UK News at the moment.
Oh no, I'm on UK News as well. First thing is Ronaldo. And
is it?
Yeah.
All right. The first thing I'm seeing is murder charges after human remains found in woods. Shah Sabahani was found 6 months later in woods. And I'm going a bit later down, and I'm seeing Falklands vet still haunted 40 years after the war. And that is by no means any problem, except for the one photograph of the Falklands vet they managed to come up with is not a white Anglo-Celtic man. Of course, what a surprise. Then we have UK travellers are heading for a summer of misery with a black bloke as the mainstream. Next we have, I'll walk to the next stop just to save 5 pence, with a woman who again is not a white Anglo-Saxon chick. I'm quite enjoying it. Anyway, let's go to world news. Oh, and by the way, the first picture on there was campaigners to challenge Rwanda asylum case ruling, with like a huge number of military age black and brown men arriving in Britain illegally. But anyway, let's not just stick there. Let's go to world news and see what the BBC has against us. Okay, the first thing we have is thousands rally across the US for stricter gun laws. Yeah, of course they do.
Of course. Funny.
Oh, I love strict gun laws.
Then we have Putin positions himself as Peter the Great, which, again, doesn't mean anything, really.
Yeah, no.
No. Let's see what else we have here.
China warns Taiwan independence could trigger war. Nice.
Well, what a surprise. What?
That's brand new news. I've heard that one before. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
You're telling me if Someone recognizes Taiwan's independence. That China wants to go to war. I've never heard that one before, I'll be honest. Go on.
Meanwhile, we have ex-football star condemns Qatar over gay rights.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah, that was like, absolutely something most British people cared about.
Single-handedly changed all the laws.
War prompts regional rush to join EU.
Lol.
Then we have our attacks on Christians in Nigeria on the rise, which the BBC then tells us they are not, which is absolute bollocks, because they are, because Nigeria is increasingly Muslim, but, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no,
And then,
crikey.
and then we have thousands join gun control rallies across the US, which is followed by the first magazine owned, run, and written by women.
Very cool.
I just love it. So anyway, that's just my weekly quick look at the Bias Brainwashing Corporation, which is entirely anti-white, anti-European, and hugely anti-straight white male. So, there you go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. Oh, I found this funny. European Parliament condemns American Supreme Court over abortion. See, I love how the EU tries to bully they try to bully their way in over such civil issues in America. I mean, America, any country, to be fair. I mean, they did in Ireland. I'm pretty sure how.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Yeah, they did it with I think abortion in Ireland. So early 70s, they didn't want it. Then in the early 2000s, they didn't want it, and then they said we'll pull funding, and then the Irish people had to vote for it. So just
the Irishman is the slave to the European Socialist Union, as it would seem.
Oh yeah, then there was Sadiq Khan condemns Supreme Court abortion a fundamental right. Of course, it's Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, who cares about American politics. What was he doing?
Yeah.
That's a silly twat.
And everyone else speaking about American politics would be told to mind his own damn business. But there you go.
Is there any good news?
I don't think there's any white pilling news today. Not today.
No, there is nothing white pilling at the moment.
I'm about to hang out with me later. Am I alright? Just gonna be depressed for the rest of the night.
Don't worry about it, mate. I just get drunk and don't care. But
Oh, another cool news. European Union Commission declares future. Oh, well done, mate. Really?
I'm sorry, I missed that, Limbu. What did you say they declared?
European Union Commission declares future is queer. So the future is gay, apparently.
Oh, okay, right. Well, that's
do they mean the old version of queer, where they mean it's quite weird, or?
No, they just mean homosexual. They just mean
all right. I was going to say they were going to be pretty honest that the future's going to be pretty weird.
Well, if the future's queer, I guess we could argue that good nations like good nations in Europe and places like Nepal, etc., where people are not queer, could make a big time comeback, because queer nations ain't gonna really breed many more generations, are they? Gay people don't tend to have all that many kids, surprisingly enough. Really?
No way, man. I can't believe that.
So yeah, I guess that's true.
Bum sex illegal, tolerated. Hushed and toned is legalized.
Yeah, no, this dude has got the correct thing going on here. Hang on, not like dude, this dude. Yeah, because the slippery slope is real, and that's why they now have toddlers being taken to um, gay strip clubs,
Mm.
and the left is trying to tell you that's okay.
Tristan, are you going to do some push-ups? It's a question from Rob.
I already do push-ups. Fuck's sake.
Don't all men do push-ups? I mean,
I
like,
would hope so.
Yeah.
I've always done push-ups, for fuck's sake.
Well, my mate doesn't, but he's starting, so.
Top lad.
But I would hope
I thought all men did push-ups and like a certain amount of fitness shit. It's just one of the things you do as a bloke.
so. Yeah. Doesn't require gym membership. That's one plus.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do push-ups. You can do crunches. You can even lift weights at home if you have some weights. You know.
Yeah, 100%. I think at this point, all men should try to be masculine, sort of have muscle, because if you don't have that, you're not really a man, are you?
Well, I think that's just sort of like a default for your health. If someone doesn't, like, I don't know, do exercise or go outside at the very least, then there needs to be medical professionals called in, which happens in most cases, I would hope. Because if someone's sat inside for months on end and doesn't do anything, doesn't do any workouts, doesn't even go outside, then you need to get medical professionals involved for their own safety, like,
Yes. Oh, Harold, you're getting a bit of hate on chat.
Yeah, I know who Harold is. He's a wee bastard.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Joby said, my money is the Duke looks like Gareth Hale in real life. I have no idea what Gareth Hale is or was or ever was. Like, I don't even know who he is. What I look like is me. I'm 6'2". I am 13 stone, and I'm 57. And even when I was 18, I was 12 and a half stone, which I reckon is not too bad. But I got no idea who Gareth Hale even was.
He seems like some fat comedian. That's why I got online.
I just don't understand why Jobu like sends me information about these random media people. I don't even know who they are. I'm about half a stone heavier than I was when I was 18, and I'm fucking 57. So, all right, guys, go for it.
It's African Islam religious ones who are breeding above imprisonment. Everyone hates gays again. Sure. Yeah.
Spitting image of Wellington if he was bald. No, I had a better nose than Wellington all through my life, but I have actually been bald since I was in my mid-20s. So I've always shaved my head since then. So there you
go. Duke, I was going to ask you, how was your stream with Jonathan Paul? I didn't seem to watch it, but it was the book review.
Oh yeah, it was okay. I've streamed with Jonathan like 4 or 5 times. He's a very nice chap. He's struggling, like he's a very well qualified historian, but he is struggling in America to get decent jobs because he's not a lefty. Like he's really a university lecturer, but he is struggling in America to get decent jobs. And that's the real issue, I think. and he's just written this book, which is about all the Germans who were east of the German border when the Russians started winning the war in World War II, and all the bad things that happened to them. And it's a good book, and you should go and check it out. I think it's called The Great Silence, and you should go and check it out.
Sounds good.
Jobo, I don't look anything like David Niven. I'm slightly more handsome and rather bigger built. If you want the truth, but there you go.
We have officially.
And I don't look, and George, I don't look anything like Quentin Tarantino. I really don't. I'm a bit more handsome than that too.
Oi. Lad hour.
No, Jobo, I have a moustache and a goatee beard. Always have had since I left the British Army.
Eric Cartman. Yes. Duke is 100% Eric Cartman. 100%.
When I was in the British Army, I only had a moustache because you weren't allowed the goatee. When I left, I grew the goatee. So there you go.
Oh wait, no, you joined early.
Oh, not 50, lad.
Because they allow beards now, don't they?
Hang on. John McNamara. John McNamara, I am much bigger built than who was that dude he was going over? I'm much bigger built than David Niven, for fuck's sake.
I think
I'm 6'2", for God's sake, and not skinny. But I'm also not fat.
No, I think North FC guy could probably take Duke and Scrap, to be fair.
No way.
I reckon. North FC is pure Northern legend.
Mate, no one takes me in a scrap. I actually broke the jaw of a 6'5" Afrikaner cop once in South Africa. And I didn't know he was a cop. He was in civilian dress. But he was slagging off my mate's girlfriend. So I got a bit angry. So there you go.
Yeah.
He did break my nose, mind you. I have to say he did. But he didn't prosecute me because he was an all right bloke.
Fair enough. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was. He was just slagging off my mate's girlfriend. So I hear, it's that kind of shit.
Are we going to have a woman rant today, Duke, or just we're going to be live off the cuff?
What you mean on this stream?
Yeah, on this stream.
When have we ever had a woman on this stream?
No, a woman rant. A woman rant.
I have a woman in my Discord.
Oh no, I meant like just generally like every time we're on stream, you just bang on about like why something about a woman, just like random off the cuff.
But you can't trust them. You mean? Yeah, that's true. You can't.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Any man who trusts a woman is immoral. But I am having a stream coming up soon with Red Hawk, which is going to be about starting a conversation with young ladies, turning them into girlfriends, and then eventually turning them into wives and mothers.
Duke, wouldn't that go contrary to your belief? Because you're entertaining a woman's sort of intellectuality about herself. Wouldn't that go contrary to that?
No, I think women are lovely. They're extremely cute and decorative. And you need them to be mothers. Like, I just don't care what they think much. I mean, that's like, this is the point. Like, where men go wrong is women are very cute. They're very decorative. They can make great mothers, but don't care what they say. I mean, that's just silliness. This is why the Western world is being destroyed. Is because we're listening to what women think. And like women don't really think, to be honest. They just don't.
I agree with Swifty Morgan there. Courting is the only way forward. Absolutely agree.
Yeah, courting is great. I've got nothing against that. I used to do that. Listen, I was a married man. I got a grown-up son, etc. But yeah, don't take any notice what women think. Women think what their blokes want them to think, if their blokes have got any sense.
Yeah.
What is George saying in the chat here? I don't know, George. What?
I've stopped paying attention to the chat, I'll be honest.
It's not Splendid Isolation stream without Duke ranting about something he has rented about 20 times before. I think George meant, I think he got his English wrong
George.
here. I think he meant he is not a Splendid Isolation stream without Duke ranting about something he has ranted about 20 times before. I think that's what he meant, but he got it wrong because all that university education didn't stop him getting it wrong.
Oh dear.
Well, I think George just doesn't understand that you're trying to get it through his head, and that George still hasn't listened. You know.
No. What George doesn't understand is, I know he gets it the first time, but I'm talking to people who won't get it even the third time. I think that's the real truth.
I see.
I think George gets it the first time. I like George. He's a mate.
Yeah.
All right? I don't have huge disagreements with him. But many of the people I'm talking to will only get this the third time you tell them. And they won't even get it then, some of them. So there you go.
To move on, Tristan, have you thought about fielding candidates for the IUP yet, or?
Yeah. So we're getting membership cards out now. I shall be doing the first test batch of that, which will be putting everyone into councils, so I'll actually know where everyone's actually positioned at, because I actually have to put it down in a book. Yeah, no, I have a few people in mind. It's going to be for 2015 or 2025 that we plan to, aim for that election. But yeah, I have a few candidates in mind. I was actually asked that by another party, and I had to tell them that of the people that I had in mind.
I mean, well, that's well thought out of, at least. You're planning for the future.
Yeah, I mean, Limerick, we're definitely putting someone there. I had someone very important in mind. He's a very good speaker.
That's great. Based. Realistically, though, when would you think would be the greatest time for Irish Unionists to sort of win an election? Like, do you think it's possible in your lifetime, or
Right. So, win a seat. That is what we're aiming for. We're aiming to win at least one. Right. So, there's 2 to 3. No, actually, no. There's 4 places where I can see that we could actually win. Possibly. I would say I don't know if it will happen this time around. I would say we get a good vote turnout though, for definite this time around, because I've been speaking with groups online from people with Donegal and Monaghan and everything. We will get a good voter turnout. I mean, it looks small in the grand scheme of things, but it's massive historically wise. If we get a few hundred votes, it'll be massively historical. But I will say we might, if we really try this time, we might win at least one place. But I would say more realistically, it's going to be the second time around that we actually win something, realistically speaking.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I think Tristan's a good chap and a brave chap. And I look. I wish more English guys were as pro-Anglo as Tristan is, to be honest.
Actually, speaking on that, I have actually had quite a lot of English people over, and I normally speak to them, and I take them to all these places where you normally not want to take tourists at, and a lot of them are rather they whenever you try speaking about certain issues with them and all that, they're very reluctant to say anything. It's very unusual, I will have to say that, whenever someone's actually afraid to say their political opinion in a bar. You're just, I, I think English people need to, loosen up a wee bit, quite a bit more.
For sure. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, Tristan, at all.
They're all like paranoid schizophrenics, going like, oh, but what happens if there's a Fed listening? What happens if the police go to it? And then you're like, oh, I asked you what was your opinion on like trade or something, and then you're like, no, it's too conservative. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I mean, look, I totally agree with that. And where you have an advantage, Tristan, is that a lot of the parties in the Republic of Ireland have people like Sinn Féin, etc., have totally turned to, we love mass immigration. And I think a lot of Irish people can't see much sense in Brits out and Somalians in,
Well, yeah, I mean, as someone, as the councillor or the person that we're planning to put up for the election in Limerick, he was taking me around Limerick. He was showing me all these like shut down businesses. He was telling me what they used to be. Now this guy is like a father of a few people. He has a lot. He's given up a lot at risk for even like joining up. But he was sort of saying like how we could barely buy like a house in Limerick for a few €100 like of rent a month. Like rent in the Republic is absolutely ridiculous compared to rent in the North. That's the one big difference. But as he was sort of saying, we're bringing in so many immigrants and all that due to the EU. The EU's telling us we have to. You have to. You don't get a choice in the matter. Meanwhile, people all across the island are even struggling to pay their current rent, or people are just homeless. I mean, you take a walk through Dublin or Limerick, and you'll within 10 minutes you'll run into at least 5 homeless people walking up to you, basically begging, like, because everyone's just given up on paying for it, and it is honestly very heartbreaking to see the current state of Ireland and the fact that the government's continuing to import cheap labour and all that. It is honestly disgusting, to be honest. And I think Sinn Féin and Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, that them championing on that, it just shows the complete and utter disconnect of the Irish government to the current average working man or the average just civilian in Ireland. It just absolutely shows the utter disconnect. It is the upper class versus the lower class. There's no middle class anymore. It's gone.
Yep. Totally agree. There's a little tiny upper class in Ireland, and everyone else is a working bastard trying to get by.
Yeah,
and that's increasingly what's happening in all Western countries.
Yeah, that's worrying. I haven't. It's not really that big of a thing in Northern Ireland because jobs are easy to get and house rent's very cheap. But like watching all these other countries around Europe and all that and all the Western world, that's very worrying, to be honest. Don't know what that's about.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all, man. Look, my mother was born in Tipperary, so I'm a little bit biased. But her father was a Welsh dude who was in the RAF in World War II. So I'm not as biased as you might think, but I am a little bit biased from that point of view. And I don't know. I live in hopes that one day Ireland will join some sort of trade confederation or whatever it might be with the rest of Great Britain, which is, because we are a kind of natural unit in some respects.
Yeah, of course, Celtic brothers and all that. It's only natural that Ireland should drift towards the United Kingdom. Because at the moment, the way it works is if you're like people say, oh, Ireland's independent if it's its own sovereign state. Sovereignty and independence mean to be the supreme ruler over the current situation.
And it ain't because of the EU.
Yeah, well, the EU, the US, and even England, because the fact that we left Britain means that we don't actually get too much of a say over what companies do. And eventually, now you see half the roads being built by English companies, half the logging camps which are poisoning fields. The fields are basically unusable due to the foreign trees that they're using in those fields. It's unusable for the next 20 years, being used by Frenchmen. Oil, gas pumps are being bought off for way cheap by American gas companies. And the EU is giving us scraps. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland gets around a few billion a year for just being a member of the United Kingdom. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all there, Tristan. I mean, look, some of the finest regiments in the British Army used to be Southern Irish regiments. People like the Connaught Rangers and the Dublin Fusiliers and several cavalry regiments, because Ireland was always known for its cavalry regiments. Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all, man.
Yeah. Right, I'll let you talk about something else that's not Ireland.
I don't know. I think this was quite an interesting stream because, I've got Tristan, who is a Southern Irishman, but a Unionist, and I've got Limbo, who is the son of an actual real life Gurkha officer. So Lee Hammond in the chat is saying Connaught Rangers. Yeah, the 88 Foot, the Connaught Rangers, who were Kipling's Devil's Own, one of the finest regiments that's ever served in the British Army, without doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
Very, very tough regiment. French didn't like them at all in the Napoleonic Wars. Russians didn't like them in the Crimea. So, Craig in the chat saying the Black Watch. Yeah, equal. Black Watch, equal. Great regiment. One of the things that made the British Army absolutely fabulous was because the English, Scottish, Irish, and Welsh regiments were all rivals.
Mm.
They were all rivals to say.
Competitive atmosphere.
Yeah, they were competitive. There was a thing. Oh, hang on, let me think now. Just in the Crimean War, I'm trying to remember where it was now. Yeah, I think it was at the Battle of Almar. There was, I think it was the Connaught Rangers, but it was an Irish regiment certainly, and their brigadier was a bit short-sighted, right? So he saw some Russian helmets on the horizon, and he got his men to form square, which is what you do if there are, in those days, if there were cavalry around, okay?
Yeah.
So he got this Irish regiment to form square. And then our Scottish regiment came past, and the brigadier of the Scottish regiment wasn't short-sighted, and he could see that they were infantry. And so he just led his men forward. And all the Irish guys in the square were shouting, "Oh, yeah, let the Scotsman go on!"
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
And it was like, It wasn't. It was just rivalry, you know.
Yeah,
But like healthy rivalry.
definitely, man. Still exists.
Yeah, it does. It does. But you know, I've got a fair number. I've always had a fair number of Irish friends. So you know.
Right. I don't mean to. Sorry, this is maybe disappointing, but I might have to go very soon.
That's all right, mate.
Yeah.
You can leave anytime you want.
But does the other lad want to?
Yeah, many thanks for coming on, Tristan. If anyone doesn't follow you on Twitter and all that stuff, would you like to show your Twitter or anything like that?
Oh yeah, sure. So you can find me. I'm just going to put the at in the chat because it's at Tris Burnland.
Put it in the private chat, and I'll
Oh.
stick it in the real chat.
Yeah, there you go. Very symbolic name, by the way, of that. Some people have asked about that, but yeah, if you want to keep up to date with the IUP and the current Irish Unionist movement, you can find me there, and also the party Twitter is in the description, so in all of my Twitter, so you can just find it. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good coming on.
All right. Tristan, always very happy to have you on here. You've been in my Discord for a very long time, and you're always most welcome on these streams.
All right, man. All right, thank you. God bless.
Go on, man. Go on. All right, Limbo. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
Me personally, I was just reading the comments, and it was trying to formulate opinion on Prince Charles and how he does support the Rwanda migration policy. Me personally, I think the royal family is a key essential for Britain to keep alive its tradition. Now, Prince Charles, he may not be a favorite, however, it's like the policy with the Pope. I mean, if you don't like a Pope, that's fine. However, that still doesn't mean you can remove the actual sort of infallibility in the idea of the Pope. It doesn't prove a reason to go against the idea of the monarchy, especially the British monarchy. And with Prince Charles's comments, apparently these comments came from the Sun and the Daily Mail. So, of course, I mean, I think this is pure bollocks. I mean, most of it. So, I wouldn't take it to chin here. I think most of it is just bullcrap. Yeah, that's it really. Just quick skimming.
I don't know what I think about that. I'm going to have a problem. Long may Her Majesty the Queen reign. But I know some people are going to have a problem with me because, as I said, once again, long may Her Majesty the Queen reign. But when and if Charles takes over, I'm not going to take him seriously. I don't like him. I don't like him. I never I gave a oath of allegiance to him, and I'm going to be different to him. But I know there's a lot of royalists who won't agree with me on that.
So, but you wouldn't be Republican, though, surely.
I'll never be Republican, Limbo. Never, ever, ever. But I don't like Charles. Would I kneel to? I would kneel to Her Majesty the Queen as a British subject should. Always, just like you kneel to God, even if you're not totally a believer in God, you just do that. They're the only two things I'll ever kneel to in my life. But I'm not sure I would kneel to Charles, to be honest.
Okay. But wouldn't the military oath of allegiance go back, well, wouldn't it still be the same for Charles, wouldn't it? Like, what I'm trying to say is that once you recruit and you lay oath to Majesty the Queen, you're doing the oath to God and you're doing the oath to the monarch, not per se the actual Queen. So, for your case, wouldn't the oath just extend to Prince Charles until you die?
No, 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 it wouldn't. I do see what you're saying, and I'm sure it would be true for most people. But like when I gave my oath to Her Majesty the Queen in like, I don't know, what was it, 81, 82? Britain was a very different place.
It's sort of like what Lee Ham's saying, the oath is valid for his heirs and successors also.
Yeah, I see what he says, but I don't agree with that. In theory, he's correct, but when I really look at myself, I don't believe that. I'm sorry, I just don't. Lee Ham is totally correct in theory. He is. He really is. And I know people like John Cavalier and many people who call themselves right-wing conservatives in Britain would think, yeah, no, it doesn't matter, because Charles is the same. No, sorry. Look, you have to understand that 2/3 of my liking for Her Majesty the Queen is liking for her father, who actually fought in the Battle of Jutland in the Royal Navy. And 2/3 of my liking for Her Majesty the Queen is that. It's not herself. She was just a girl at the time. And actually, looking at it from a royalist point of view, Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II allowed nearly all royal prerogatives to be destroyed. So I know I'm going to have a real problem. Like I said, may I say it again? I hope Her Majesty the Queen continues to reign for a very long time. I hope she becomes the oldest old lady in the entire world. But if Charles takes over, I will not have anything like the same loyalty to Charles that I had to Queen Elizabeth II. But like I said, 2/3 of that loyalty was to her dad, who was a damn good and brave naval officer in World War
I. Do you reckon that the Queen will outlive Charles?
I hope she does, but I doubt if she will. I'd like her to, for sure. Like, how can you, as Charles, pick Princess Diana, who was a whore, and then go to someone who is worse looking than your mother? I'm sorry, I just don't get that. But that was Prince Charles, I guess.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, honestly, Camilla Parker Bowles, apart from being like, I don't know what you describe her as, but like, Charles was fucking her when she was married, and she's more ugly than his mother, for God's sake. And his mother's not ugly, don't get me wrong. Queen Elizabeth, when she was a younger lady, was not ugly at all. But Camilla Parker Bowles is, for God's sake. Where do men get these ideas from?
Well, I wouldn't know personally.
Honestly, my mum was quite cute, I'm sure, Limbu, your mum was quite cute, because that's why your dad married them, for God's sake. You know, it's like it's craziness.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think the thing is with Charles is that like is that he's sort of he's been naturally been corrupted from the start ever since his
Yep,
time at Gordonston.
yep.
So it's just
I mean,
especially yeah.
I'm told when he was in charge of the Royal Navy minesweeper, Prince Charles was an okay officer, but no one thought he was a good officer. They thought, you know, you're not going to get in crap with this dude, but no one thought he was a good officer, and his ship was never sent anywhere where there was the slightest possibility of anything bad going on.
Oh, Duke, I think Job was asking for a stream link. I think.
God almighty, Jobu wants to come on and cause trouble again. All
I
right.
think in regards to Spindly.
As if I'd ever send him a link. As if I would ever send Jobu a link.
I think in regards to Spindly's comment, Charles's father did go to the Duke of Edinburgh, did go Gordonston as well. It made him a man, and surely he was bullied for being a foreigner as well. So I think
Yeah,
it's safe to say that Charles, like both of them got bollocking when they were young, but Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, he became a man out of that, while Charles clearly wasn't. So
yeah, fair enough. I don't disagree with what you're saying there, mate.
Yeah, no, I would agree with George here. How in God's green earth did Gordonson create such a wet blanket like Charles? Absolutely agree with that. It's crazy. I mean, like with any private school institution as well. Surely you made a man. You made a man of morals and ethos and values, of fraternal essences, but you get a man like Charles. You get a man like Charles.
Well, my boy went to the Royal Navy School in Norfolk, so there you go. And it worked reasonably okay. But he started off as a day pupil, I have to say. And he only went boarding when he wanted to. Because I was very worried when I sent him there about the homosexual crap, if you see what I mean. So he only became a boarding pupil when he said, "Yeah, I want to be a boarding pupil." So yeah, hang on, I'm trying not to send Joe a link.
I guess with boarding schools as well is that if you don't train your son or your daughters in the right, correct manner with morals, and if you just bang on about stuff saying, "Oh, you got to do this," but yet not explain it why it's bad or why it's good, they'll eventually see boarding school as the sort of place where you can let go of your repressions of sorts and just do whatever you want, let your vices go free. And I think I see that in many colleges, private schools, is that you see young teens being hooligans for no apparent reason because they were taught well, but they were never taught why they had to do this and that.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Okay, I have not sent Joe the link. What is his name? Which means I have sent Joe the link if he wants to join. I was going to finish this quite soon, but we'll see. Maybe Joe has got something interesting to say.
Oh, dude. Mixed martial arts. Wait, Duke,
I I have no thoughts on mixed martial arts. I used to carry a rifle, and you know, anyone who wanted to do any shit like that, you could just shoot them.
In regards to Ben Gale's comments, I was reading some biographies about the royal family and all that. It was always seen that Charles was this sort of soft guy. He was this lanky, soft guy, and he was always, to quote, "mummy's boy." So he was always reliant on his mother, and that's not necessarily a bad
Well,
thing.
look at the woman he's ended up with, who is
Yes.
absolutely a mother substitute. She ain't a woman. She ain't a girlfriend, or what we would look at as like, we want a cheeky babe. She ain't a cheeky babe. She's a substitute mother.
Oh yes, 100%.
And George is, I'm sure George is right with what he says there. And given I know where George comes from, I'm sure that's entirely true.
Duke, give me a quick sec. I'll come back on. Yeah.
No worries,
Go
mate.
AFK.
No worries, man. I've sent Jobu a link, but like he's not here yet. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what did I do wrong? Oh, okay. Yeah, Jobu, good day, mate. How are you going?
Oh, very, very tired, mate. Just
You're
finished 12.
right at the end of your shift.
Oh yeah, just got home. 12-hour shift, but Mrs. is away seeing her family at the moment, so felt like
12 hour. Did you say a 12-hour shift?
Yeah, I did 12-hour shifts, buddy.
Wow, man. Do you do 12-hour shifts like on like computer shit?
Operations environment. I don't want to get too far into it, but yeah.
No. I get you. But
Office, white collar stuff, yeah.
I hope 4 hours of that is overtime, mate.
It's like fucking NORAD, mate. Nah, it's just my roster, mate. Like, it actually works out quite good because you get used to the 12 hours, and basically I get an extra 6 days off a month, so I'm only there half the time.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I get a spicy meatball and they pay for it too. But yeah, I just thought I'd jump on for 20 minutes because I felt like a chat. But just to circle back to something Wimbu was saying before about how when the crown passes to Charles, that you're going to need to have respect for Charles, just given that he is the institution, monarchy. I get where he's coming from.
A lot of people think that, to be fair.
Look, I get where it's coming from, but I think that the problem that the West has is that we've got all these institutions and they're all failing. And they're all failing because there's no accountability anymore. Now, I'll give you the example, right? Yeah. Remember we were talking the other day about how my beef with Lizzie is that she didn't intervene during Brexit on the side of democracy, so to speak, to push the politicians of Her Majesty's Parliament to get Brexit done, so to speak. Well, a couple, that movie, The Queen. A couple of clips showed up on YouTube for me the other day, and I had a look at them. And the strong theme in those clips was she was lecturing Charles and her husband's father about, you can't interfere with democracy. We've got to stay silent and all that sort of thing. But going back to the accountability, when democracy was being threatened by the politicians after the Brexit vote, she didn't intervene, so she failed. The institution failed. She, by her own standard, she should have intervened. So to go back to what Charles taking over, especially given he's going to be a left-winger, I think it's the British people need to hold him to account. So if the standard's going to be you not to interfere in domestic politics, you can't go fucking running around talking about energy policy all the time. You can't go complaining about the Rwandan refugee settlement when your
Totally
country's
agree.
country's turning into a fucking shithole, and girls are being
Totally
raped in
agree.
places like Rotherham. So
Totally agree. I don't disagree with any of that, Joe.
Mm.
Like I said, when I was barely 18, I made a personal oath of allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. I take that seriously. I will take it seriously so long as she lives. But when she don't, it doesn't pass on to Charles as far as I'm concerned.
I'm a bit of a believer in you got to earn respect to get respect, you know. So I'd like to see the question put to Charles, and I don't think we will, but I'd like to see the question put to him that you've got British citizens, young English roses, getting fucking pack raped. What do you have to say about that, mate?
Yeah.
They're your citizens, and they're suffering. You know,
Totally.
it's no, you can't pick and choose what you get involved in and what you don't.
Yeah, Pakistani rape gangs are Pakistani rape gangs, and no one says a word. But they're working class girls, you see, mate, and most people don't care about working class girls.
Hmm.
That's the real story, and what no one will absolutely talk about is the victims of Pakistani so-called grooming gangs, which are actually child rape gangs, are almost all working class girls and almost all from single mother families, and you're not allowed to talk about that. You just can't talk about it at all.
That issue really fell off the radar, even from our perspective in the dissident right as well. Because they put out that report, the long-awaited grooming gang report, and it was watered down with they'd obviously inserted that language to say, oh, well, you know, statistically it's white men doing all the raping. But after that, it just all disappeared, which I find a bit strange.
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, the Conservative government covered up the report, of course, for a start. They just didn't release it. So you got to look at that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, mate. I spent most of my life in South Africa and a little bit of my life in Australia trying to prove that Poms weren't all wussies. You know, I really did. That's what I spent a lot of my life doing.
The issue sort of ties into something Tristan was saying about the disappearing working class in Ireland. And I've been to Colombia. If you want to get a look at what the future looks like, go visit there. Because there's just I'd refer to it as the colonial class, which are probably the descendants of the Spanish settlers, and then you've got the natives, so to speak. So, and there just doesn't seem to be anything in between. So, it's basically like a two-tier country. The elites have conversations amongst themselves, and there's really nothing done for the lower classes. So, that's the future we're heading towards, unfortunately.
All right, my opinion on this is that if these girls were middle class girls in England, there would be a lot more looking at it, but they would still make excuses because, you know, black people have to be good, even though they're not. But the real truth of it is that the so-called Asian, in inverted commas, Pakistani rape gangs are targeting English schoolgirls, but they're targeting working class English schoolgirls. And everyone wants to cover that up because it's not good for the feminists. It's not good for the government. It's not good for the left. I think, like, real British nationalists should turn around and say, no, that's not acceptable. Like I know, like my father, my grandfather, my great-great-great-grandfather, all of those people would have just said, "Nah, you can't do this. 'Cause we'll kill your dad." But you can't do that anymore, apparently.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because like there's a definite campaign to suppress masculinity in that respect across the West, but there's a lot of. Have you seen those latest ads that Andrew's put out about respect for women? And if you see this, if your mate tells a sexist joke, you've got to call it out. You know, you've got to staunch up and set him right. And if someone's hassling a woman on a train, you've got to intervene.
Jobu, didn't Andrews get pushed down the stairs because he was with that trucker family and tried to chow up some young chick?
Well, I think that's what we all want to believe, but I think he just went arse over tit when he was drunk, mate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right, all right, maybe. But I have heard many people say, like, the reason Andrews ended up broken for 3 months was because he tried to chow up some young chick at a very well-known Australian truckers family place and got pushed down the stairs. And I really hope that was true.
I'd like it to be true as well, but unfortunately I don't think it is. I wish he had to break his fucking neck when he went down the stairs, mate.
Yeah, that would have been bad. Yeah, I agree. That would have been bad. But yeah. All right, guys. I don't know. Maybe one day we will defend our women. And maybe one day we won't. I don't know, guys. I just don't fucking know. My son said to me last week, the only thing that keeps me sane is my little dog and doing these streams. And he's a pretty good boy on that. But on the other hand, we're going to stop and I'm going to do a stream. Do a musical outro.
I'm going to dip out, mate. It's time for me to hit the rack.
No worries, man. Go sleep well.
Britons always loyally declaim about the way we rule the waves. Every Briton's song is just the same when singing of a soldier's brave. All the world has heard it, wonders why we sing, and some have learned the reason why. We're not forgetting it, we're not letting it fade away or gradually die. Fade away or gradually die. It's the soldiers of the Queen, my land, my land, who've seen my land in the fight for England's glory. Of its worldwide glory, let us sing. And when we say we've always won, and when they ask us how it's done, we'll proudly point to every one of England's soldiers of the Queen. It's the soldiers of the Queen, my land, will be my land. My lads, in the fight for England's glory, for its worldwide glory, let us sing. And when we say we've always won, and when they ask us how it's gone, we'll proudly point to every one of England's soldiers of the
Okay, that was Soldier of the Queen, which was the regimental march of the regiment to which I had the honour to belong when I served in the British Army. Anyway, yeah, a pretty short stream this week, chaps. I never know who is going to come onto my stream 5 minutes before the stream starts. It's just the way it works. I would say I have a stream coming up with Red Hawk, which is going to be about showing up girls, turning a young lady into a girlfriend. And if you can't do either of those things, you're not going to turn her into a wife or a mother. So hopefully you guys will find that interesting. So look out for that one. And of course, we will be back next week for Splendid Isolation 76. I would also say, ladies and gents in the chat, please subscribe to the channel and like the stream. And on that note, I shall wish you a good weekend and good evening.